When it comes to effective coaching, what you say matters, but it goes way beyond providing accurate information. It's all about providing accurate information that swimmers can actually use when they're ready to use it. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. I talk a lot about helping swimmers learn to create more propulsion, sets, strategies, skills, and all that. But I don't talk about as much about how to actually communicate with swimmers about creating propulsion. I was recently asked how I go about communicating with swimmers during sets, specifically in terms of creating propulsion, so that's what we're going to tackle here. To me, the foundation is identifying which skills are critical for creating lots of propulsion, identifying the strategies that help swimmers learn these skills, and then designing sets that make it much easier for swimmers to learn these skills. That is the foundation. And to me, without a great foundation, even the most effective communication in the world isn't going to be nearly as useful. Putting swimmers in positions to feel the key skills is a critical component of the process. But that doesn't mean the communication doesn't matter. When used during an effective set, great communication can absolutely be a difference maker. So here's how I go about communicating with swimmers about creating propulsion. Step one is always frame the intention. I always try to be very clear about why the set was written and what it's supposed to accomplish before we do anything. So for example, this is a propulsion set. We're focused on learning how to use our arms or legs, whatever the case may be, to move ourselves down the pool. We're going to try to learn to move more water, and we're going to do that by learning to create a bigger hook with the arm, hold that hook throughout the entire stroke, and then accelerate the hook through the stroke while maintaining that great position. I always try to keep it big picture at the start so that they understand the overall goal of what we're trying to accomplish. I'm less worried about the specific details they need to do, and I'm more focused on the big picture goal that we're trying to get done. That's important because it frames and it guides everything they're going to do during the set. For step two, I explain the set, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. For instance, we're using upside down paddles to help you learn how to use your forearm more effectively. We're using resistance to encourage you to create more propulsion. And we're using a stroke count to help you maintain efficiency and have an objective measure of your efficiency as we move through the set. I usually keep that part really brief, hopefully one sentence, because it's usually something they've seen before. I'm just using it as a reminder. And again, it's always to reinforce the main goal of the set, which in this case is to create more propulsion. So having framed the set in a clear and unambiguous way, they know what they're doing and they know why they're doing it. I don't get particularly complicated at all because I want clarity and I want them to know exactly what they need to do. Having framed the set and having explained the set, now it's time to roll. When it comes to the set itself, communication is a lot more effective and a lot more efficient when you've clearly framed the purpose of the set, because everything you say, everything you talk about is going to be directly related to what they're trying to do. It should be obvious why what we're doing is related to the goal of the set, and it should be obvious what they need to do to accomplish that goal. And so again, communication will be so much easier because everyone is focused on the same things. I can't overemphasize how important this is. Rather than just providing random instructions or random feedback, everything you say is tied back to exactly what they're doing, which is tied back to the overall goals of the set. So a lot of the times during sets, I'm communicating and providing feedback about the numbers, times, stroke rates, stroke counts, whatever it is, helping ensure that they're focusing on performing and finding ways to solve the problems that are in front of them. If they're on the right track, everything looks good, I'm always encouraging them to stay focused, stay engaged, keep making it happen. If something's off, I'm also encouraging them still, but I'm quickly trying to figure out what's wrong, what's off, and what do we need to do to get back on track. I ask them what they've been doing, I ask them what they've tried, and I ask them what they're struggling with. Again, they know what they're trying to accomplish because we've clearly framed that, so they should have a pretty good understanding of what they're struggling with. If necessary, I'll give them some simple suggestions that relate directly to the goal of the set, or I'll just encourage them to continue to try what they're already working on. For instance, if I tell them to set up the stroke a little bit earlier, try to create an earlier hook, that should be directly related to what they're trying to accomplish, and hopefully it provides some level of improvement in performance almost immediately. Again, it's not just a random suggestion, it's tied into what they're struggling with, which is tied into what they're trying to do, which is tied into the purpose of the set. And when those things are all in line, usually the suggestions can make a pretty big impact, and when they do, not only does that help your swimmer improve, but it gets instant buy-in because they're seeing that changes lead to changes in performance. And that's why it's so important that communication throughout the set is directly tied to what's happening during the set and what swimmers are trying to accomplish. As another example, I might tell them that they need to be a little bit more patient in the front of the stroke, Or I might suggest they try to accelerate through the stroke a little bit more aggressively. Again, these are big picture concepts and they're appropriate within the context of the set. And the goal of any feedback is to get them improving almost immediately, help them accomplish the specific task in front of them in a better way. It might take a couple reps, but it should happen relatively fast. If it doesn't, we probably need to try something different. Regardless, every attempt is geared towards improving performance in the set, and skills are directly related to performance in the set. If the set's a little bit more exploration based, I might just ask them, what are they feeling? If they're using one paddle on one hand and an open hand on the other, and they're trying to maintain equal pressure on both hands, I might just ask, how close are they to maintaining pressure equally on both sides? And if we're struggling, we're having a very brief conversation about what they can try to do in order to get equal pressure. Again, we're only talking about what they're trying to accomplish right now in the context of the set. So it's all about engaging, problem solving, and encouraging with all swimmers to help them get more out of the set. I try to find ways to help them perform at a higher level rather than just telling them what to do. They need help learning how to focus, they need help learning how to problem solve, and they need encouragement. And coaches, we can provide all three. And as necessary throughout the set, I'm going to reframe the intention. I will remind them of the goals throughout about moving more water, creating and using a bigger hook. And I almost always try to communicate with individuals rather than the group because I want some sort of dialogue. I want a response, as I find that tends to drive change a lot more effectively. After the set, quick debrief about what was good, what could be better. And I always try to get their perspective in addition to just providing my perspective because I find that they always have great insights about what happened and what could be better. And those conversations are always tied to what actually happened and the clear goals of the set. It's not just random communication, it's very focused on whether the goal was achieved and what could be done better to achieve it next time. And I'll use that information to design better sets, find better strategies, and help them continue to improve. If you want to know more about how to help swimmers create more propulsion, check out the video here, and here.